And so what Rich Dad taught me, the difference was between an asset and a liability was dependent upon the word called cash flow. That's what made something an asset or a liability. So if the cash flow flowed into your income or into your pocket, then it was an asset. So I'll say it again. So if the cash flowed into your pocket, it was an asset. I was 9 years old. This is not that tough. I understood that. I said, that's good. For those of you who want something exciting, go and read a dictionary or a financial book, what they define an asset as, and you'll get really confused. And so this is the cash flow pattern of an asset, and this is the cash flow pattern of a liability. So very simply, an asset is something that puts money in your pocket, and a liability is something that what? Takes money from your pocket. So, a person's house. In the spring of 1999, I'll be launching my next book, and that book is called The Cash Flow Quadrant. Was it called The Cash Flow what? Quadrant. And I'll show you the cash flow quadrant now. I showed it to the directs the other day. This is the cash flow quadrant. And I think this has tremendous relevance to your life or your work here. This is what my rich dad showed me. The cash flow quadrant, the E stands for employee. What does E stand for? Employee. Very good. What does S stands for? Self-employed. What does S stand for? Self-employed. B stands for business owner. What does B stand for? Thank you. And I stands for investor. What does I stand for? Investor. So, the reason it's called the cash flow quadrant, it's because it's where does your cash flow from. So let's say you're a postal worker and you have a W-2, then you're an employee. The trouble with being an employee, who gets taxed the hardest? Employees. That's the problem with getting a nice, safe, secure job. So what a lot of people did during this downsizing days and all that, well, let me first say this. The self-employed person, a lot of people say they own their own businesses, which is true. But there's a difference between a self-employed business person and a business owner. And the difference here is this. A self-employed business person cannot leave the job. In other words, if they left, the income would go up or down. Down. In many cases, this is an electrician, a plumber, a dentist, many small business owners, etc., salespeople. They're self-employed. A business owner, on the other hand, the defining thing my rich dad said between a business owner was a business owner could leave the business for a year or more and come back, and the business would be running better, income would be up, and you could go off for another year if you wanted. And that was a defining difference here between a self-employed business owner and a business owner. Those are the differences. So one of the things that my rich dad taught me is you have to learn to work with people, and you listen to a person's words. I can tell an employee by their words. When somebody comes up to me and says, I'm looking for a nice, safe, secure what? Job with benefits, I know I have somebody who comes from the value system of an employee, the mindset of it. When I meet somebody who says to me, I charge $100 per hour, or I just can't seem to find good employees, or my commission rate is 6%, generally they're self-employed. The problem that I found in education, academic education, is they tell people, my poor dad said was go to school and find a nice, safe, secure what? Job. This is my poor dad's advice. And what my rich dad said to me was, don't bother with that, go this way, build companies, build businesses. My rich dad said to me, if you want job security, own the company. That was the best thing you could do. So I learned to build businesses here. Just as a stat for you, if you're interested, is that the average rich person throughout the world, 30% of their income comes from here and 70% comes from there. And the average poor middle class person, their income comes from here. And that's the big difference there. So that's why I wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is to become wealthy, you have to learn to have businesses or other people work for you. So My rich dad taught me was this. It says that a business owner, what they're always looking for are excellent systems and excellent people. And that's what I studied, systems and people. There's three kinds of systems primarily in the world today. One's a C corporation. IBM is a C corporation. Most rich people own C corporations. Then in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, another thing came on the line. It was called franchises. One of the most famous franchises was what? McDonald's, today the largest landholder in the world. And in the 50s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, franchises were considered illegal. And then there came out a new one in the 60s, a thing that most of us are in here, is a thing called network marketing. And that's a business because it's a system with what? People. That's what makes it a system, that the individual can actually move on and have the system and people work for them. I have personally, my oil company, my mining company, my real estate companies, some education companies are primarily C corporations. One of them went public off of the Canadian Exchange in Vancouver. The other one I have here is I've built franchises. But when I looked into it, when I met some individuals who are with the Jaeger organization, I started considering network marketing. I considered building one myself. But the more I looked at, so I went around and I looked at the different organizations, and I came back to this one. There's one reason for it, is in my opinion, what the Jaegers have done is built the best system in the world right now to make the best people. And I did go and do my market research. The reason I love what the Jaegers are doing is because when I met Dexter, I only met him last week for the first time in St. Louis. I've been hearing about this legend. He reminded me exactly of my rich dad. I mean, that guy doesn't think like normal people do. He has a different point of view. But the reason I respect the Jaegers so much is they're very much like my poor dad from the point of view they're dedicated to education first. And so that's why I decided to, my diamond upline is Bill and Amy Galvin from Dallas, Texas, to join this business rather than start my own. So the point I'm bringing up here is this. How many people have ever had a hard time talking to one of these people here about this? Okay? It is almost impossible because they do not understand. They do not understand. These people are into job security. They want to know, and these people here, a business owner, and many times when I'm building a business, I may not get paid from anywhere from 1 to 7 years. I have to build a business. When I met my wife, I was building another business. I know she didn't marry me for my money because I didn't have any money. I was building a business. And we worked very hard to build businesses. One of my problems with the school system today is they're still teaching people to look for nice, safe, secure what? Jobs. And it's making them wimps. So the thing I want to talk to you about is a lot of times when I talk to other audiences, most corporations don't invite me in to talk to their employees. They don't like me for some reason. I can't figure out why.